There she is, boy. How do you like her?
This beat-up old crock? You expect me to traipse around the country looking for old man Brattle in a thing like this?
That's psychology, all right. You can't show up in a better trailer than his. After all, he's the man who made the biggest uranium strike in history.
I know, Mr. Honeywell, but...
This is not just $1 million deal. It involves billions. Every investment house in the country was after the old boy when he disappeared in his trailer.
Well, I'm not disappearing in this old jalopy.
Oh, yes, you are, and that's an order. I've had private detectives on old Brattle's trail, and they've narrowed the search down to this general area.
Well, that's fishing territory.
Right, and these X's mark trailer camps. Now, do you get it? Old Brattle is a fisherman, a real nut. You're a pretty fair fisherman yourself. He's traveling in his trailer, here's yours.
No, sir, I am not leaving Margie alone in New York. She gets in enough trouble when I'm here with her.
Who said anything about leaving Margie? The brain has thought of every contingency. Step inside. Here you are, boy. All the comforts you want. A little palace on wheels. You'll have to have someone to cook for you, so why not Margie?
Oh, do you expect me to take Margie in a dinky little thing like this?
What do you mean, dinky? This trailer sleeps 3 people. The couch across the back, one where you're sitting, and that upper berth over your head. Here, I'll show you. Sure thought of everything. These are unbreakable plates.
You expect me to land $1 billion deal in a crate like this? How cheap can you get?
Economy has nothing to do with it. Take a look at this newspaper cut of Brattle. Only picture ever taken of him when he made the uranium strike. What kind of a man would you say he is now?
All I can say is he hates to shave.
Don't you understand? He's a simple man. Spent his whole life prospecting. Doesn't like city people. That's why he disappeared.
So I'm supposed to follow in this heap and pretend to be just as simple as he is.
Which ought to be a cinch for you. You've been rehearsing for the part all your life.
Okay, so you've thought of everything except what happens when Margie gets near a client.
Ah, but Margie isn't going to know that he is a client. In fact, if you breathe one word about him to your loving daughter, I'll blow up this trailer with you in it.
Well, if I can't tell Margie the truth, what am I going to tell her?
Ah, leave that to the brain. Come on, let's go and enlist Margie's sympathies, and I do mean sympathies.
Oh, I hate to do this to Margie.
Shut up and act sick or I'll brain you.
Oh, Margie, I'm home, dear.
What's happened?
Oh, don't be alarmed, dear. I'm all right.
There you are, old friend. Nothing to worry about, Margie. The doctor says he's all right. Physically, that is.
What do you mean physically? What else could be the matter with him?
Tell her. Your daughter wants to hear it from you. Well, tell her, you idiot. I mean, tell your daughter you've had a crack-up.
Crack up?
Margie, I've had a crack-up.
Nothing serious, just nervous strain, overwork, too much time at the office, and not enough relaxation.
It's all your fault. You did this to my father, you slave driver.
Now, Margie.
You shout at him and scream at him and make him do all the tough jobs at Honeywell and Todd. And what does he get for it? A nervous breakdown.
Atta girl, you tell him.
You bet I'll tell him. It's time somebody stood up to him. What could he ever do to repay you for all you've given? Your loyalty, your hard work, and now your health.
Well, he might give me a substantial raise.
Now, see here.
Dan ought to own the firm for all the work he does.
Say, that's not a bad notion. Albright, Todd, and Honeywell in that order.
You shut up. I mean, you mustn't talk now. You're a sick man. Remember, you're sick.
Oh, Dad, you poor darling. What can I do to help?
The doctor says you must get away from the noise and hurly-burly of the city.
We'll go to Bermuda and lie on the beach. That'll fix you up.
Well, Bermuda isn't exactly what I had in mind. I bought your father a trailer, and you're going to take him fishing.
Is that what you want to do, Dad?
Oh, why, yes. I'd love to go fishing if you'd go with me. I haven't the strength to go alone, but I hate to take you away from the comforts of New York.
Don't you dare say a thing like that. You need me, and I'm going with you.
Yes, sir. That's our little Margie.
Nothing will hold still long enough to hang on to.
Trying to make a dude out of old Hank Brattle, huh?
Not me, Uncle Hank. It was your idea to run away and hide from all those city varmints, as you call them. So you've got to disguise yourself.
I changed our name from Brattle to Smith, didn't I? Do I have to change my face, too?
Yeah, if you don't want to be recognized.
Well, anything to maintain my incognito.
Well, you wouldn't have to if you'd sign up with one of these investment firms. Look at them, tops in the business. Conway and Staub, Equitable Investment Corporation, Honeywell and Todd.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I ought to get it off my mind to sign up. You pick out a good one, and I'll put my X on the dotted line as soon as we get back to the city.
Now you're making sense, Uncle Hank. I think Honeywell and Todd have the best deal to offer. Here's their letter. It says their vice president, Vernon Albright, would like to discuss it with you.
Well, shoot him a telegram. Wait, make that a postcard. We don't want him to think we throw our money away. Tell him we'll contact this Albright fellow in a couple of days and sign up. That is, if I like Albright personal when I meet up with him. You know I don't do business with no critter I don't like.
I sure do. Okay, I'll make a point of that in the telegram. Postcard. I'll go into town and send it right from the post office. Is it all right if I put a special delivery on it?
Go on, get out of here.
Yes, sirree, Mr. Jones. If it's fishing you want, you'll come to the right place. Why, the fish in that stream up yonder, they'll bite at anything, including each other.
I don't want any tame fish. I like the fighting kind. Got a lure here that'll catch any fish that ever spawned.
What is it? A piece of plastic?
It's my own secret formula, and the fish just cry for it.
Howdy. Hello. How long you planning to stay? Oh, a couple of days, I guess. I wouldn't want my daughter to hear this, but I'm looking for a man named Brattle. He's a wealthy man, but eccentric, you know. He likes the simple life. Travels around in a battered old trailer. Brattle? Nobody in camp by that name. Well, he's liable to change his name. He doesn't like folks to know that he's a rich man. And like I said, he's eccentric. That sounds pretty smart to me. Keeps the prices down. But there's one thing about him that he can't change. He's a nut on fishing. A real nut. And oh, yes, he wears a beard. Why, now, that sounds like Mr. Jones. He's a fishing nut. Makes his own bait and everything. Got a beard, too. That's him right over there. Oh, that's him, all right. So he's a rich fella, eh? Well, I'll have to raise his rate to $5 a day right now. No, I don't want him to think that anyone knows who he is. I'll pay for the raise for Brattle. Jones. And here's an extra 20. Don't tell anyone that I was asking about him, okay? For $20? I can keep quieter than a sleeping bass. Oh, good. Now, I want to space my trailer right next to his. Now, here's another 20. Huh? Oh, I was trying to remember which space Jones was in. But thanks just the same. Let me see now. Jones, he's in space number 1. Young Mr. Smith and his uncle, I ain't seen him yet. Space number 2. Now, the closest I can give you is space number 3.
Come on, Dad. Let's get the show off the road.
Oh, okay, baby. I'll be right with you. You say space number 3. Well, thanks a million. Yeah, right down the lane. You can't miss it. It's got a 3 on it. Left, Margie. Left, not right. Left. Margie, I said left, not right. You know these women drivers.
City folks, huh? Well, why don't you stay in the city instead of barreling around the country weighing into decent folks' trailers?
Well, you don't have to be a sorehead. I'll pay for the damage. It'll be mighty hard to find on that beat-up old shack of yours.
Beat-up shack, is it? Why, you overgrown prairie dog, I ought to bust you wide open.
Now, you're fighting out of your weight in class, Dad. Now, shove off before I lose my temper, you old goat.
Old goat? I'll old goat you. And if you stick that silly face outside of that trailer when I'm around, I'll shave off that E-flat mustache of yours. You look like a stiff that ain't been embalmed.
Now, calm down, Dad. Don't get excited.
Oh, we would have to get a grouchy old hillbilly like that as a neighbor. Now, go on. Move this thing.
This is the simple life?
Oh, Margie, honey, I wish you'd dish me up a plate of that spaghetti that you made for dinner. I'd like to take some over to Mr. Jones, our neighbor.
You mean that old grouch next door?
Oh, no, of course not. He lives 2 trailers away in space number 1, on the other side of that jerk next to us. I'd like to get acquainted with Mr. Jones, because maybe he'd take me fishing tomorrow morning.
Dad, aren't you going at this simple life the hard way? I mean, after all, you're on the edge of a nervous breakdown.
I am? Oh, I mean I am. Right on the edge.
Then let's get out of this booby trap. If it's fishing you want, why don't we just go to a nice hotel on the lake?
Oh, no, I can't. I've got to stay here.
Well, don't get excited. It's not good for you.
Well, what I mean to say is, honey, is that I like it here, away from the hurly-burly of all the hotels, safe in the arms of Mother Nature.
Well, seems to me Mother Nature's given you an awful licking so far. But if you want to stay, okay.
Neighbor. My name is Vern Albright. Thought you might like a plate of spaghetti that my daughter fixed for dinner.
Well, that's mighty nice of you, Mr. Albright, but I've just had my dinner. My name's Jones.
Well, nice to meet you, Mr. Jones. Do you mind if I sit a spell?
Oh, sit right down. I'm glad to have you.
And if there's anything I like better than a simple man, it's a simple man with a beard. Yes, sirree. That beard of yours is what attracted me in the first place. I liked you the minute I saw you.
Well, you seem to be a pretty regular guy yourself, Mr. Albright. Do you like to fish?
Do I like to fish? Well, if there's anything I like better than a simple man with a beard, it's a simple man with a beard that likes to fish.
Well, that's fine. I'm kind of a nut on the subject myself. Make all my own lures. It's a secret formula. Fish just can't resist them.
Well, what do you know? I never saw one like that before. What's the secret? Uranium?
Uranium?
Well, you said it was irresistible, and none of us poor fish can resist uranium. Eh, Mr. Jones?
You laughing baboon!
Bird next to us is a maniac. I'll get even with him if it's the last thing I do.
Now, Dad, simmer down. Remember your condition. I'll get you a sleeping pill so you can get some rest.
No, I don't want a sleeping pill. I'm going fishing with Mr. Jones at 4 in the morning.
You and Mr. Jones sure got buddy-buddy in a hurry.
Well, like I told you.
He's a simple man. In fact, I think you're a couple of simple characters to get up at 4 in the morning to go fishing.
Oh, good night, Margie.
Well, I'm not going fishing, and I'm not going to bed at any 7 o'clock. I'm going to read for a while. Mighty big mosquitoes up here. Sound like 4 motor jobs.
It's that idiot next door. He's doing it deliberately to annoy me. Well, I'll fix him.
Don't slam it! That was a close one.
Oh, you got me just in time, Margie.
Well, that does it. I've had it, and that's all, brother. We're leaving this madhouse, and we're leaving tonight. Now.
But, Margie, I can't leave now. I've got to stay and talk to Mr. Brattle. Well, I mean, Mr. Jones.
Well, which is it, Brattle or Jones? Or are they one and the same, and Daddy's trying to pull a fast one on itty-bitty Margie? Well, come on, out with it. I smell something fishy, and you haven't even gone fishing yet.
Okay. I didn't want to play this trick on you in the first place. It was all Mr. Honeywell's idea.
It usually is.
Well, you see, Mr. Jones is really Mr. Brattle, and Mr. Brattle is an important client that I'm trying to land for Honeywell and Todd.
Oh, now I know what I smelled. A client. So that's why you're willing to take a beating from that old grouch next door. And you didn't have a crack up at all?
No. But if that crackpot next door doesn't cut that out, I will have a nervous breakdown. I've got to get up at 4 o'clock and go fishing with Brattle.
You leave it to me, Dad. I'm going up and see the proprietor and demand he throw that man next door right off the premises. You try and get some sleep.
Don't slam it!
Okay, Dad.
I was the guy next door, huh? Well, I'd like to take a whack at him myself. Can't sleep a wink with all that racket.
Oh, Mr. Brattle, I mean Mr. Jones. Wait, I'll take care of that guy. Quiet! I guess that scared him. Come on in, we'll talk uranium. You'll have to excuse this humble trailer, but I'm a man of simple taste like yourself.
No, Mr. Farrell! I mean, Mr. Jones, are you all right? Just a minute. I'm sorry to bother you, but do you know where the manager is?
No, I don't, I'm glad to say. Because now I can be of service to you.
Well, I doubt that. You see, I want my next-door neighbor thrown off the premises.
Oh, good. Then I can move in. What's your name? Well, I have to know whose neighbor I'm throwing out, don't I?
All right. My name is Margie Albright, and I live in New York, and my father's in the investment business.
Albright. Wouldn't happen to be the same Albright that's connected with Honeywell and Todd, would it?
Well, yes, in a kinfolk sort of way. Why?
Wonderful. My uncle's doing business with that firm. I'm Jim Brattle.
Well, the last one to say small world is a rotten egg. Dad's going fishing with your uncle at 4 in the morning.
Really? Well, your dad sure worked fast. Let's see, you two must have arrived in camp while I was in town. Well, how did he recognize my uncle?
By his beard, he said.
Beard? Well, he shaved it off before you got here.
You and your uncle wouldn't be parked in space number 2, would you? Dad's fishing with the wrong beard.
What do you mean?
I'll tell you on the way. I've got to warn Dad before he does something drastic.
That ought to fix the sore head for keeps. I got the water pipe connected to the gas pipe and the gas to the water. Just wait till tomorrow morning when the old goat tries to make a cup of coffee.
Tell you what, I'll go get my fishing knife and we'll fix one of his tires, okay?
Yeah, you better bring two. I want to get in on this one. Oh, come out and fight like a man. Okay, you coward. I'm coming in and get you.
Too late. Dad's already flipped. I think I know how we can save the deal if you'll go along. Mr. Jones has a beard.
Well,
Oh, please, Jim. It wasn't Dad's fault.
lady, any guy that has a daughter like you also has me on his side.
More where that came from if we make good. Mr. Jones, I'm Margie Albright, and you've got to help me with my father. He's suffering a nervous breakdown, and he's just run amok and gone berserk in Mr. Brattle's trailer.
Off his rocker, huh? Well, I got that impression, too. He's always talking about uranium, and he called me Brattle. It's too bad. He's a nice guy when he's normal.
Then you'll help Jim and me.
Well, I don't quite get this now. Who's he?
Oh, well, this is Jim Brattle, and we're engaged. But now that my father's blown his fuse, Jim's uncle would never permit him to marry a madman's daughter. And if you've got a spark of romance in your heart, you'll help the two of us become one. Or maybe I should say 1 1/2, since my father's a half-wit.
Well, what can I do to help?
I want you to make Mr. Brattle think that you're my father.
What's the matter with you? Stop that.
Thank you, Mr. Albright. You saved my uncle's life.
What's the idea of trying to kill Mr. Brattle?
Brattle? Brattle? You're Mr. Brattle.
Don't be an idiot. I'm Albright. He's Brattle.
Oh, Dad, my dear, sweet Dad, are you all right? Did that horrid man hurt you?
Is everybody crazy?
No. This maniac attacked my father. I hate to do this.
Thank you, young lady. That varmint almost killed me.
Well, don't thank me. Thank my father, Mr. Albright.
Albright? Are you Vernon Albright of Honeywell in town? Well, I'll be a horned toad. How'd you get here so quick?
Well, I sent a telegram instead of a postcard, and Mr. Albright flew up here to say hello.
Well, that's mighty neighborly of you. Shake, I like a man with a beard.
Well, let's get this poor unfortunate back to his trailer.
Right.
Good night, Dad. You're a darling.
Ah, nice girl, your daughter. Well, now that the shooting's over, how about a cup of coffee?
Well, thank you, if it isn't too much trouble.
Oh, no trouble at all. Just have to light the stove.
Oh, I mean, no, thank you. I never drink coffee before going to bed.
Oh, nonsense. A nice hot cup of coffee will do you good.
Thanks, Jim. Dad's safe in bed. Now, you better get Mr. Jones out of there before he runs out of ad libs.
How about some more of the same you promised me if we save the deal?
Save it for New York. I've got to get Dad out of here. Let it pile up interest.
Okay, but my interest doesn't have to pile up, girl. See you in New York. Hey, what about your dad when we get there to sign the deal? You know, he's the wrong Albright as far as Uncle Hank is concerned.
Don't worry, I'll tip Mr. Honeywell off. Just let him know when you're coming, and Dad'll suddenly be called out of town, which leaves me to entertain you, okay?
Very much okay.
I've got to jump in the car and haul our freight. Bye, Jim.
See you soon, Margie.
Compliments of Honeywell and Todd. Your commission on the Hank Brattle contract. If it hadn't been for you, we never would have landed it.
No, Dad, you shouldn't have. But I'm glad you did. I'll need some new clothes to entertain Jim Brattle while you're out of town next week.
Oh, no, you don't. I realize I've got to get lost while old Hank is in town. But I'm not leaving you in New York alone with that nephew of his. You're coming with me.
Sorry, Dad, but the client insists. Mr. Brattle wants to thank me personally for saving his life from that lunatic in the trailer next door.
Well, that's my little Margie.